Hey folks, so I know it's been a while, and so war just ended, but here's a war matchup of myself versus Invisinerd's faction. So Twilight Princess versus Hershel's farm. So you're just gonna see the whole war match. There's one point where I actually skip over about 2 minutes of time, but that's just because I was waiting on a timer and I didn't want you guys just to see me waiting and watching. It just didn't make much sense to me. So anyway, right here, I'm trying to take a tower right now to benefit my faction as well as my team because I've been running a very melee heavy team this war. So my single Abe was able to take it, and I'm setting my team in there right now. I don't really want to set that team exactly because I moved Dale in there and haven't moved it back, so I'm just going to put some random team in for now. So I'm going to start on Invisinerd. I see Eric leads, so this is kind of my standard team that I use against Eric leads. It sometimes changes based on kind of the flow of a match, but right now I see he's using that Julie, who's the Survivors Club member, Toon, James, Koa, Eric, Douglas. So I'm getting pretty lucky here, good rushes, good choice, and it's over there. My defense is not much better than that, to be honest. This next one, I see an Abe lead, which is pretty offensive. I will go for the command tune first, just because they can create the most amount of chaos, and I like to eliminate chaos. I like to be in control. So I like this team that I run quite a bit. I know I've mentioned it before. Merlin and Rosie is a great tune choice because he or she, whatever you want to call it, can buff themselves. So, the honor roll is a huge advantage in my opinion because you can run defense down and then they just do attack up on their own. Against a primarily blue team, Merlin and Rosie will do a great job against them. I really like the bound weapon of the potential to gain half their AP on an attack because even if they're blocked by absolute defense, they have the opportunity to gain 50% of their AP, so they can still rush on the second turn even without having to be commanded. So I know I've mentioned this before, but I really like my standard attack team because it seems to be fairly effective against most standard, like free-to-play or light spender defense. I don't like defense teams like this, and by I don't like them, I mean they can bother me sometimes because Amber is always kind of a bother. Because I don't use my decap Sandy, I usually can't take Amber out early enough so she can get a kill. Like she just killed me right there and she had her follow up. And it's a really annoying tune to me because I just can't have the amount of control that I want. So I'm pretty sure I actually lose this match right now, but I think I come back to this team later and I win. But it's just Amber's one of the most annoying tunes that I think I can or have faced, just because when I run a heavy yellow team, she can get a kill so easily, especially after people have added veteran rings and stuff. So this is the melee team I was talking about earlier that I really wanted that one tower for, just because it is very, very strong and it works really well most of the time. The high damage output by basic attacks just enables me to have a lot of control, but if there's any offensive tunes on defense, it can be a little dangerous to run just because Camilla is, well, pretty easily beaten, especially if there's a strong green character like James, for instance. I really do like running Command Glenn on this team, just because by having that command tune, I'm able to have just that much more control over the situation. Again, with it being a heavy offensive team, I sometimes lose characters, which can be really annoying because obviously the more characters you have alive, the more points that you get. Overall, I'm pretty happy with the design of his team. I wish I had a command tune that was a Generation 2 tune that was still green because I like the stun on attack, but I don't think that exists yet. Nick would be an okay option, except I don't like that he's a yellow tune. I just feel like there are so many hard-hitting green tunes at the moment, specifically James, that a lot of people have and use on defense, that it would be more of a liability to use him. I like using Glenn because I have another option to use a stun on attack weapon. Just to change things up a little bit, I can sometimes run this team with Dale instead. And I find it can be pretty effective just because Dale has the active focus and 100% heal reduction. His rush can apply defense down and maim the enemy, so it breaks guardian shields and stuff. It can work out really well if he's able to rush, and then I can use Sean's rush right after. It just becomes a very easy kill. Like right there, I'm able to kill those 3 characters. In some cases, I can kill all 5 that are at full health or more than full health, just because of the sheer amount of power and the defense down combination. So now I'm kind of waiting, so I may as well take a tower at the moment. I might get a can drop. So my Abe is not equipped for this tower. I believe it's 4 waves or like 4 turns until all the walkers are out of the shadows. And my Abe is 6 for 10 on his AR rush. So he's best at walkers where there's 5 stages until they're all out of the shadows. His mod combination is specifically designed so that he will actually survive, because when he rushes, he can take out all the walkers that are out of the shadows. So at the end of this video, I'll actually show you the mod combination that I gave my Abe. So now I should be able to go back to this guy that I missed the first time around, and it seems like other people missed as well. I decided to go with my more red offensive team that's kind of a standard attack team, and I'm using my Sandy, who has the double attack weapons that are just automatically on her. I think she's going to be a lot more effective here because she has the trade advantage, and with the double attack weapons, she just hits like a truck. Now, I have kind of transitioned away from this team just because if I need the decap, I can always use Dale's 100% heal reduction, but also I just find that Merlin and Rosie hits a lot harder than Sandy just because they're able to buff themselves. So as you can see, I was able to get through this team a lot easier, and that was some RNG luck. I was able to impair some of them, and then by using Sandy, I had the trade advantage, which is ×2 on the damage scale, so it was just a lot easier of a match for me to complete. And we are just about done here in the match. It looks like it's just that ranger guy that's left. I guess we'll just take a look to see if I have any defense or anything like that. I kind of doubt it because my defense team is not that good, to be honest. I'm still waiting for a little bit of luck in getting a tune that can make my defense at least a little bit more difficult to beat. Because obviously, if you're a general, for instance, then you're going to be targeted near the beginning, and you also don't get the defense buff from someone else being the general and giving you like a 20% defense buff or something like that. So my team, unfortunately, like my team grade is S11++, and that makes me general a lot. So I have been using my veteran rings, and I've been trying to only use my veteran rings on my Generation 2 6 stars. It's just if I use my rings on my Generation 1 6 stars, then it basically puts them on par with my Generation 2 6 stars. But it's eons behind S-class tunes. So the only reason why I started to use my rings on my tunes was because I was going to fall behind if I didn't start using them. So I was kind of forced into it, and I don't exactly mind that because I'm still going to be earning veteran rings as long as I keep competing in arenas. But I can't compete in arenas if I don't use my veteran rings. So it's just kind of a circular pattern. And as I mentioned earlier, this is the mod set that I have on my Abraham. So I do have attack set mods, but the only 2 specific mods that matter other than being attack set are the defense mod and the defense first fast mod. So these mods will help Abraham stay alive in case you come across a tower that has yellow or fast walkers in it. The bottom 2 mods don't matter as much as long as they complete the set. I chose Grays just again to help in case he does get attacked or swarmed, but I would just be cautious with the choices that you make in that bottom left-hand corner. I would not use Bleed or Burn because that takes more time for that animation to go off. So just keep it to some simple things, so like defense up when confused, or a mod that you don't really use basically. And I did have to change his weapon as well. so that he survives. And finally, for his weapon, HP and defense. The weapon isn't perfect, but it's good enough for me. And I find that his rush just takes out all walkers that are out of the shadows. So that's why you need to have two Abrahams, one for towers that are five turns of walkers, and one for towers where the walkers are 4 turns for them to come out of the shadows. Thanks again for watching and listening to my video. I hope that you found it informative and enjoyable.